Yo, what's up guys, AJC here, and in today's video we're going to be talking about Conor McGregor finally responding to Jake Paul calling him out. But you're going to want to watch till the end because a certain YouTuber reveals the diabolical plan Jake Paul has in order to land the Conor McGregor fight. But before we get into it, first off, if you want more videos on the Jake Paul and Conor McGregor beef, make sure you like this video, and if we can hit 5,000 likes, and I'll make a part 4 of this series as soon as possible. Also, if you want more YouTube news like this, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit that red button down below. But besides that, let's get straight into today's video. So as we all know, the rumor has still been circling around whether Conor McGregor will actually fight Jake Paul as he prepares for his UFC fight. What was interesting to see was that Jake Paul shared on his IG story him messaging Conor the exact words "take the fight" and a word I can't say for monetized purposes on Instagram. And what came to everyone's surprise is that Conor had read the message. So it's safe to say that Conor definitely knows who Jake Paul is and the offer he has on the table. It was later revealed in a recent video that Conor's team has given a response to what Conor thinks about Jake and the whole shenanigans. So this is what Hollywood Life on YouTube had to say.
Dillon, who's been helping Conor McGregor prep for his next UFC fight, revealed that Conor's initial reaction to Jake's viral call out. Dillon tells the Energized show Conor has been ignoring Jake's antics ahead of his UFC match.
So this response from Conor can be taken in two different ways. Firstly, Conor could be ignoring Jake Paul to focus on his upcoming UFC fight, or Conor just really isn't interested in encouraging Jake Paul's antics. Although this isn't the response everyone had hoped for, as we all know Conor is one of the greatest trash talkers in history, he is looking at this from a smarter perspective. The reason that McGregor has been so quiet and will continue to stay quiet is if McGregor falls into the bait that Jake has been giving, all it really does is just give Jake Paul more and more clout. Yes, there may be a lot of money on the line, but to Conor, I know that's just chump change, but Dillon, who trained and sparred with Conor during his training camp, had this to say about Jake Paul and what Conor thinks about the Paul brothers.
Do you think once Conor implements the stuff you taught him now on January 23rd, that knockout, will he have you back in again for that Jake Paul camp? Or what the fuck is happening?
Guys, listen, Jake Paul wasn't even mentioned in
Oh my
Jake,
God.
he wasn't even mentioned. You know, I've seen the video personally. I think it's very disrespectful.
Right.
I know if Jake or Logan Paul shows up to Dubai and I've got nothing got to do with it, I will sleep that guy on the spot and give him a taste of the real world. Someone needs to teach them guys some manners.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
the guy plays video games, for God's sake.
So sparring partner and professional boxer Dillon made it clear that Conor could care less about Jake Paul coming into his return to UFC. Jake, however, wasn't a fan of the trash talk and started to research more about Conor and his team. So here's what Jake tried to expose on his Instagram story the other day.
McGregor has a fight coming up against Dustin Prober, the guy who he already beat in one round. Conor's taking easy fights. But he's been sparring in Ireland, and someone tweeted him asking about his recent sparring sessions, and this is what Conor tweeted.
It's clear to say that Jake really stalks Conor's socials and tries anything he can do to rile up McGregor or anyone in his team so Jake's name's in the mix. But the tweet Jake was referring to was this tweet right here where a guy said, "How was the sparring, champ?" Conor then responded to that saying, "Very tough. I got a nice shot that clipped the nose upward and made it bleed. The rounds were super close though. Razor. Dillon is one of the better boxers I've ever shared the ring with, a phenomenally exciting Irish talent." Jake, however, responded to this tweet saying he's boxing against a kid named Dillon and basically saying the rounds are super close. Now you're all probably thinking like, who is this Dillon guy? He is a nobody, and yes, he may not be as famous as other fighters that Jake has been trash talking, but this guy has a 15 win and 1 loss record in professional boxing. This dude is no joke, and if I was Jake, I would keep my mouth shut when talking to a boxer of that caliber. But as we all know, Jake was not finished in roasting Dillon on Instagram and continued to say this on his story.
Damn, okay, so Conor's been boxing, going against some phenomenal, exciting Irish talent. Damn, this kid must be really good, you know, because Conor's a good boxer, right? And then we look this kid up. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the big, bad, exciting Irish talent, Dillon, the kid that Conor McGregor is sparring against.
So unfortunately, I can't show you the footage Jake showed because boxing is really big on copyright, but here is a screenshot and it was basically a compilation of Dillon getting knocked multiple times in fights during the past. But this didn't take too long before it caught the attention of Dillon himself, and Dillon responded on his Instagram saying this.
Jake, I just watched your interview. You are one thick, ignorant fool. I don't even know what to say about you. You're an absolute disgrace to yourself, America. The best thing that happened over that way was Donald Trump. I hope he gets back into power and builds an even bigger wall and puts all your clowns behind it. Now, Jake, the last few weeks we watched you online disrespecting fighters, good people, asking for fights, shouting offers. This is my offer to you. I come to America today, tomorrow, or any other day. Me and you go to the legendary Mayweather's gym and we get in the ring, doghouse rules, and let's see how that works out for you. I will rip your head off, Jake. We are not the same. You make videos for a living. I fight. Now, Jake, you've put it out there, and everybody wants to see it. So we're all waiting on your reply. And one more thing, Jake. Does it look like I'm in Dublin sparring?
So if you didn't know what doghouse rules mean, it was actually a term coined by Floyd Mayweather himself, where it is basically where two boxers fight in the ring for as long as it lasts until one of them quits or gets knocked out. Floyd even said himself, guys fight to the death. It's not right, but it's doghouse rules. So this ain't no walk in the park, but this is putting your life on the line. But this video by Dillon exposed Jake in a way that no one has expected. If you didn't know, Jake said he was moving out of his estate to focus on boxing because this is what he loves to do. But if Jake doesn't accept this challenge by Dillon, firstly, he'll look weak and expose that he's actually scared of him, but also if Jake wants to make an argument that there's no money on the line, that's why he won't accept, then clearly don't actually love boxing and you just love doing it for the money. And that's where the downfall of Jake's boxing career will start, because no one will want to fight him for that reason alone. However, speaking of the Paul brothers, Logan had some interesting words to say about Jake Paul and his boxing career, so here's what he said on a recent interview.
But at what point does it get kind of dicey? You know what I'm saying?
Like actually dangerous?
Because your brother's talking about Conor McGregor.
Dog, I'm fighting Floyd Mayweather.
That's what I'm saying.
What do you mean? We're here. It's dicey.
But the Floyd's a little different, and we'll get to that. Floyd and you is different than your brother and Conor. It's different.
Yeah, I agree. Take the dicey
No,
fights.
you don't. Yeah.
So here's the rule, right? In general, if you've been boxing your whole life and you want to box Jake and I on a prize fight and get your name out there, like, but you just don't take the super dicey fights.
So your brother versus Conor, I see that, I flinch. I flinch because Conor isn't a guy who's retired, not past his prime. You're talking about one of the most vicious KO artists, one of the best strikers, probably the best striker besides Israel Stylebender that we have to offer.
Yeah.
And he's still a younger dude.
I know.
Longevity goes, it's like that wouldn't be the best path to take for your brother. If it goes as these boxing experts think and you were to lose, it's not the end of the world. I'm not saying you're going to lose. I'm not saying any of this, but I'm saying it's not the end of the world. We can still sign other fights. You know what I'm saying? But if your brother gets flatlined by Conor, it's going to be a tough sell down the road.
Jake said this on my podcast, and I think a lot of people are missing this, that in 36 months, 3 years, he'll be ready to fight McGregor. Like that's his timeline.
That makes me feel better.
That's his timeline.
Yeah, that's fine.
He's fully aware of the caliber of athlete that.
Oh, I thought you
Conor,
wanted to fight him now.
No.
Yeah.
I'm sure if money was on the table, he would do it.
So this interview didn't hit worldwide news, but maybe what Jake Paul is doing right now is all just a gimmick and he knows he's not ready to fight Conor. But he's just poking the bear now so everyone else in the UFC community takes notice, which is what happened as Ben Askren accepted the fight against Jake Paul later this year. I'll admit it, there's a pretty smart tactic on Jake's end, and I'll give him that, but what Brandon said in this interview with Logan was true, that if Conor unexpectedly accepts the fight and flatlines Jake Paul, then it's over for his boxing career. But let me know down in the comments what you think. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.